If this has ever happened to you, you might be left wondering why. Why on earth does just a little misstep onto some grass cause such a dramatic spin? This famously happened to Sergio Perez at Hungary in 2023. Understanding how this happens can actually be the catalyst for understanding an awful lot about how your car behaves in general, so it's worth spending a few minutes to hear my take. I'm not a dynamicist, my analogies are aimed at unlocking a part of your mind and linking it to the way you approach sim racing, and hopefully by the end of this video you start thinking about things in a new way. This mini guide is supported by US based Apex Sim Racing. They have their own full lineup of unique cockpit accessories, including button boxes, dashboards and display units, but they are also a US distributor for several well-known brands like Simagic and Moser. Check them out via the link in the description and save 5% off Apex's own brand items with code DannyLee. When you brake, your car slows down, but have you ever pondered how? The brakes on each wheel resist the forward motion of the car by causing the tyres to grab onto the surface of the track. Combined, the tyres pull back on the car as a whole. The car itself wants to keep going. It's the friction of the tyres grabbing the track, mounted to the wheels on the car, mounted to the chassis via suspension arms, that slow it all down. It's important to recognise that the forces slowing your car down happen only where the tyres meet the track. It's easy to fall into thinking that when you press those brakes, the car just slows down due to one big cloud-like force that envelops the entire thing, but that's not the case. Like having four strong men, one on each wheel, holding onto them by a rope and digging their heels in, pulling them back. That is the metaphorical force at play when you press that brake pedal. So, when all four tyres are on the same surface with the same grip level, the braking forces are balanced between the left and the right side, and so the car feels stable and straight. But if you were to accidentally dip one of those tyres onto a surface with less grip, such as grass, then all of a sudden those forces are no longer equal between left and right. In my example, the rear left tyre eases partway onto the grass, whilst all three of my other tyres remain on the much grippier tarmac. At this exact moment, I'm still braking, therefore the tyres are still being commanded to grab onto the surface below them and pull the car to a slow, something that is made stronger or weaker depending on the grip level of the surface beneath them. With my rear left tyre straying onto a slippier area of ground, it's now basically 2 against 1. The right side of the car has a higher level of pulling force being acted upon it than the left side, and as a result, the whole car will undergo a kind of twisting force that wants to spin the car to the right. Those two tyres on the right act as a lever against the left side's weaker forces, pivoting around the car's centre of gravity. Combine this with the fact that I was already starting to turn the car to the right, and you end up with a sudden force multiplying effect that I have no chance of reacting to in time, ending in a slide. To call back to the strongman analogy, if you imagine those four blokes pulling on each wheel on the car and the guy holding the rear left slips, it's going to result in an elastic snap as the two on the right overpower the one remaining on the left. Or to put it another way, if you pull down softly on your steering wheel with both hands and then release your left hand, the wheel will snap to the right because your right hand is now unopposed. The same thing is happening to your car when you're unlucky enough to dip that rear tyre onto the grass. The only real solution to this type of spin is to recognise when you've left too thin a margins at one of those danger zones. Sometimes you get that feeling that you've overstepped it, but sometimes, like in this example, you're just caught by surprise. This corner in Suzuka is notoriously tricky because your focus is on braking hard and on the upcoming corner apex. Yet the track's grass siding curves quietly inwards. It's just a corner that requires extra care. To me, there's no better demonstration of the fact that in order to understand your car, you have to treat all four tyres on your car as individual characters, because if even one of them is unhappy, it can change the balance of the car in minor or major ways. By paying attention to what happens in this scenario, you will hopefully move away from thinking of them as the tyres and instead start thinking of them as front left, front right, rear left and rear right. This common mistake teaches you to do this by hitting you with a stick, but if it works, and it doesn't have to be grass that does it. It could be a curb or some other track feature. This is a short guide, but I've got plenty of longer ones. Subscribe for more and check out my guides playlist. Over 2.2 million views and counting across them all. Check the description for details on Apex sim racing discounts and many more too. I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback, so feel free to comment if you have any nuggets of wisdom of your own to share. Cheers again.